So tell us, let's start with where you're from. I like to know where people are coming from because it really matters a lot with the background of belief systems and how we navigate the world, the culture, and whatnot.
So I am from California. Currently, I live in Southern California in Orange County. Originally, I am from Northern California, in a little tiny town up in the Sierra Nevadas.
Okay, how long have you been in California?
My whole life, I did go to Florida, gosh, a long time ago for about 2 years, back in like 2000 to 2002 or something. I had just graduated college and I wanted to go experience something outside of California. So
Yeah, so the opposite end of the country. That's
yeah,
pretty
I had
different.
an opportunity that I was like, oh, let's just check it out. I got nothing to lose, so I'm glad I did it. But I'm happy to be back in California. I really enjoy the trees and the mountains and the ocean. There's just certain things about California I absolutely love. At the time, I was a runner, and I remember being in Florida, and it was just flat, and I was like, where are the hills? I need some hills.
Yeah, they're a little bit more north than that for sure.
Yeah, right.
Most people would enjoy the flatness. I would hate to run and bike on hills.
I was very much of an athlete and wanted to challenge myself as much as I could at the time. But today, I would like the flat.
All right. So tell people what you do and what direction we're gonna go in. And I mean, so I know I don't usually start off introducing guests, but I've had people complain that we jump in too quickly and they're completely lost and don't know how to like station themselves with the conversation. So we're trying new things.
All right. Well, what I do, um, I help clear people's blocks, what's keeping them stuck, those breakthroughs that they've been wanting their entire life and they just can't seem to get it. As much as they do the meditation or the journaling or the healing, it's working, but it's like they take one step forward, but they feel like they're taking two steps back. And they're seeing other people have those breakthroughs, yet they're just not, and they're frustrated. So I help them have those breakthroughs in life that are permanent, is what I do. And where it originated from, you want me to go into that?
Sure.
All right. I had a near death experience back in 2015. And during that NDE, at the time, I was married to a man for, I think it was like 11 years. I don't remember specifically. It was 10 years actually. And I had wanted out of that marriage for 7 years, but I didn't have a voice. I was stuck. I also had two very successful businesses that I ran and operated. Life on the outside looked like it was perfect. On the inside, I was dying. I had nothing inside of me. So during this near death experience, as I transitioned out of the physical body and went into the spiritual realm, I was shown how I had been living this facade to basically, how do you say it? I had been living a facade up to that point of living up to everybody else's expectations of me. I was a people pleaser. I just didn't have confidence to speak up for myself. And the that facade was shown to me that was had been created from childhood trauma as well as some past life and ancestral trauma that had been passed down through my DNA. And so it wasn't necessarily all of my trauma that I was carrying, but it was something that had been literally imprinted into my DNA. And so as I was in my near death experience, I was shown certain aspects of this. After my near death experience, I came back into my body. I didn't know who I was. I didn't have any it was just like I was pure amnesia. I lost a sense of everything. And this is only for like maybe 15, 20 minutes. It wasn't forever, but I never reclaimed or came back into the fullness of who I was prior. I was different. I had changed. So within 6 months after my NDE, I literally left my husband that I had been wanting to leave for 7 years prior, but I couldn't. I left him, no tears, nothing. I was done. And I closed those two businesses that were successful, but they were not me. It was me trying to prove my worth to other people.
Hmm.
And so those were closed. And then I started this journey to figure out, who am I? Why am I here? How do I heal all of this facade that I had been living? And and so I can live my truth. And over the last 11 years, I've been on this journey of that and been able to help people as well as myself really shed all of those layers of facade and lies that we have been operating from, so that we can start to truly live our truth and enjoy life with like so much peace and abundance and joy, like joy in so many aspects of life that I never got to experience prior to that.
A lot of different directions to go with this. I'm so excited. But of course, like we have to know what happened. Like, you don't, how'd you die?
Okay, so honestly, I've had three NDEs in my lifetime.
That's too many.
I know, right? I don't recommend it for anyone. But this one in 2015, I had a minor procedure, medical procedure that I had to have done. And I was injected with some numbing agent, and that my body instantly rejected, and it put me into a grand mal seizure. As I went in the grand mal seizure, I flatlined. My doctor had to full on resuscitate me. But what happened in those moments is I remember feeling, I didn't know I was going into a seizure, but I just knew my entire body just felt awful and I needed help. And I was trying to ask my doctor for help, but nothing would come out of my mouth. And then I literally was like, just in this, I don't even know, it's not agony. It's just if you've ever had a seizure, it's not, it's an awful experience. Um, if you fainted, it's like that times 1,000. It's just so intense. And I just popped out of my body and I was in complete euphoria. It's the most amazing experience. And I was so expansive. There was no limitations. And for the first time in my life, I felt whole. I felt complete. I was floating up. I didn't know I had died at the moment. And it feels like it was just yesterday. I remember it so clearly and vividly. But I'm floating in this dark place, and there's that white light at the end. At the end, I saw that. There's a silhouette standing in front of it. And I'm just floating up to it. And then I realize, oh my God, I'm transitioning. I'm going to die. And as I remember that thought, I thought, wait, my mom, my dad, and my dog are going to be devastated when they find out that I died. And then Spirit showed me three timelines for each of them that showed how long they would each be in crippling grief. And so it was interesting because me being an empath and a people pleaser, I was concerned about them rather than just allowing me to be in this euphoric state. I was really, really concerned because that's how I had been programmed to always think about other people rather than me.
Mhm.
But Spirit had the grace of showing me like they're going to be in crippling grief for a while, but not the balance of their life, just a portion. They'll be able to smile and enjoy life again. And so that gave me permission to keep going.
Mhm.
And so as I continue to float up towards this silhouette, this being, I don't know who it is, I just, again, I just was like, this is the most amazing, this love, this unconditional love, like fills every single cell of your body. It's just, there's no words that can describe how amazing this is. And I like to describe the juxtaposition of being here in the 3D plane of Earth versus up there in the spirit realm. If you are in a dark alley with a silhouette standing in front of a light at the end of the alley, your whole body's going to contract. You're going to freak out and you're going to be like, how do I get out of here?
Mhm.
Whereas in the spirit realm, there's no fear. It's peace. And I was like expansive. There's no like, I didn't have like a physical body. I was just energy. And it's love. It's just the polar opposites. So as I'm floating, all of a sudden I saw a spirit come towards me, but it came at a very quick pace. And as it's coming towards me, it merged with my body, and at full force, I was pushed all the way back into my body. When I woke up, I was like in this stark white, exam room, and I'm like, where am I? This is awful. I'm in my body. It doesn't feel good. It's confining. And so it was, again, the polarity of the two was extreme to experience that. Absolutely.
Okay, so what happened the other two times you died?
So the other two are not as, I don't have
Traumatic.
as, yeah, because the
Mhm.
first one I was like 18 months old.
Oh, okay.
But it caused brain damage, which caused great amount of learning disabilities, a lot of struggle from my childhood. The second one, I flatlined when I had to have general anesthesia. So I'm very sensitive to drugs. I am very, very sensitive. So that one, I remember very little parts, bits and pieces of it, but not very, I don't remember as much.
Okay, how do you do with the medical system now? Do you have fear around any of that, or is the
No, I
experience
don't.
itself just like, oh
I
yeah,
love
no,
that
it's
you
fine?
asked. Yeah, I'm so glad you asked that because I did. I used to have fear because I was like, I don't know if I could have surgery. Well, one, I'm not scared of dying at all. Like the other side is so exciting to me.
What a load off.
Yeah, and I'm not promoting suicide. Sometimes not. We're here for a journey. We have a specific purpose. And I will say, when I came back into my body in 2015, it took me into Great Depression because to experience that side and then come back here was really hard. And it took me a while to really find my bearings. But so I don't fear death. I know I'm here for a purpose. We all are. And I want to live it because I do remember a past life where I died and not fulfilling my purpose and regretting it. So I want to literally fulfill it this time. I'm not gonna go back and have that regret. And then I work with the DNA. I work within my own DNA and my client's DNA. So when I'm working, if I have a health issue come up, I work in my own DNA. I will go to the medical doctor if I need to, but I've been able to help heal myself on levels that I don't need to go to a doctor. And if I do have to go to a doctor, I will absolutely be working and activating my DNA to be able to manage and handle whatever drugs are injected or infused into me.
Okay. Yeah, I think we have to find a healthy balance, right? Because I'm finding that again, different cultures have different belief systems around healthcare, around all things, but healthcare is a big one. And our bodies are capable of healing themselves, but also our lifestyles and habit choices really interfere with that ability. And it's very common, especially in our culture, which is I'm studying health science right now, so I'm getting a window into different cultures and how they um ex uh navigate the healthcare systems in their own countries and how, they come over to the US and how that affects being able to care for them here and whatnot. And in the US, we really, really don't want to take responsibility for our actions. And that goes for not only taking care of our bodies and our minds, but it also falls into that whole, like, we were talking earlier about the facade and how we almost every single person you come into contact with is putting on a show of some form or another, due to the beliefs that they have around their own self-worth and what matters and their values. And a lot of us think that we're doing this because of our values when we're really just forsaking our values in lieu of the culture and the belief systems around. And I mean, that sounds really abstract, but
It's
uh,
100% accurate. That's what that's the biggest lesson I got out of my near-death experience.
yeah, I'm sure it really puts a lot of things into perspective. Uh,
Hmm.
I've become such a pain at parties and whatnot. You know, people will start talking about their mental health and their depression and their anxiety and whatnot. And I have had a history of crippling anxiety and depression. And so I've figured out, like, most of my life has been studying on how to fix that in and of itself. And in it, I've really dissected, like, how most of us are winding up here. Most is a generic term. A stupid amount of us are anxious and depressed. And um, what I always come back to is that life is so short, even under the best of circumstances. Like, you can live to be 100 and it just still is not enough time. So being free of the fear for sure, but of dying is liberating, but being free of the fear of being yourself is also incredibly liberating. And that's really important to figure out how to do so that you can figure out how to hurry up and be happy because you only have a little bit of time.
Oh my gosh, so true, Savannah. So true. 100% agree with you. We really have the amount of time we have here is so small. It's nothing. It's like you're just literally going to the store and home. And that's like in the scheme of things, in
Mhm.
infinity, that's how much time we have here.
Yeah, sometimes I panic about it just randomly. Like yesterday, I laid down to I take like 10 to 20-minute naps most days. I just find that I'm way more productive if I just allow myself the 10 or 20 minutes to rest. And I started to doze off, and as soon as I did, I just shot back awake with like a surge of electricity because, like, just completely out of nowhere, I was like, "Oh no, I don't want to die." But I'm
What
not
came
afraid of that.
across you for
Nothing.
thinking?
I don't know. I just I've been having existential
Interesting.
crises my entire life. It just kind of happens sometimes. Uh, I've always believed in reincarnation because when I was a kid, I had very vivid memories of dying and like the experience of it. Not so much like the life or anything. Like I can't recall like who I was or like what my life was or anything like that. But um, I had very distinct memories of dying and what it was like. And even to this day, I can kind
Was
of,
it traumatic or was it a for you?
I
You don't
don't
know.
think it was.
Uh-huh.
I'm not sure. It was kind of like, it's really weird to put, but the memories I have is kind of like, you know how when you wake up in a start and you're like, it was like that, but in reverse. If that makes it, stuff
Yeah,
like this
because
is
that's
so hard
as
to,
quickly as you pop over, just like that.
yeah. And I just remember like, spaciousness and
Yes, isn't it?
vastness.
Yes, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. And also, when you were describing it, it reminded me of psychedelic experiences. If
I've
you've
heard.
ever,
I can't, but I've heard. Yes, because it's releasing the DMT.
hmm
What is it? Psilocybin releases the DMT, I believe it is, and so
hmm
that is the same brain chemical that's released when you transition.
Yeah, it's been used for a lot of chronically ill patients and cancer patients and the like who are inevitably transitioning soon to death to release the fear. And
Mhm.
yeah, I can get behind that because anything that makes 'Cause that's really all it is, right? Life in and of itself and learning how to find peace and happiness within it is just releasing fear. Just over and over again. That's
That's it.
it.
That's it.
That's
It's
it.
releasing fear. But what we're saying is like we have been ingrained with fear by
Hmm.
the density of this 3D plane that we live on. Like, and we go through this veil of separation where we forget who we are as a soul, as the essence of us. The moment we come to this plane, we forget. And so we're filled with the 3D experience of survival, fear, it's a fight or flight. It's all of the things that just are causing so much mental health issues or anxiety, and anxiety health issues, like physical health issues.
Hmm.
When we're in this constant state of our mind just running the old programs and we're not even aware of it. We have what I think it's like 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day, and
Hmm.
we're only aware of a small portion of them. Our subconscious mind is running these programs over and over, and we have no control over the outcome because they're running them and we're not even aware of it.
Hmm.
So the goal is to get into the subconscious mind and reprogram that. But I get into the subconscious mind to help reprogram the mind as well as into the physical body and work with the DNA because our DNA is running that program. When you're talking about the remembrance of passing over and you still wake up and go, oh, I don't want to die, just having that thought, that random thought, that is DNA from a past life that was sent down to you because you died too early. And so you weren't ready. There was unfinished business. There was maybe some loved ones. That's what I'm really picking up on is there were some loved ones that you weren't wanting to leave. And so
Hmm.
that DNA literally stays with you and it follows us through lifetime to lifetime and until you clear it and that's where I do work like this where I go in and I help clear it. I had one client that she was so scared her dad was going to die. Like her whole life, that's all she could do is, my dad's going to die. I'm so scared. I'm so scared. And she could never watch anything about the Holocaust in Germany. It would freak her out. Well, she was born in South America. And so I went into her past life and saw that she witnessed her dad being shot in the streets of Germany as a little girl. So I cleared that from her, and then she could start watching Holocaust movies or documentaries, and she no longer had that fear. And so it was just going through and clearing that energy out.
Yeah. I've never been afraid of like dying myself per
But there's
se.
something in
Either
your subconscious that is.
it's totally 100% focused around my family. Absolutely.
Mhm.
So, I've done past life regression. I have a friend who's a hypnotherapist and she practiced on me while she was going through school to become one, and that
Mhm.
was fun. And but like when I was a teenager, I was borderline suicidal. I was like, get me out of here. And
Mhm.
then when I had children, man, raising do you have children?
I don't. I
Okay.
got
Oh,
dogs.
goodness.
But tell
Yeah.
me all about it. I want to hear about this.
It doesn't have to be as hard as it is for a lot of moms. It really does take a village. And, I could go on for days about how we've uh, disconnected ourselves from one another. Lots of different reasons we've done that, lots of different ways we've done that. But many, many moms in the US feel very isolated. So when you have two very small babies who scream and cry 24/7 and it's just you, I was having all sorts of like fantasies of how peaceful death is and whatnot.
Mhm.
But
Yeah, that's a
uh
very stressful position to be put in.
oh
100%.
sure, absolutely. Um, so I've never been like afraid of it sounds very peaceful, especially in contrast to this world and all of the turmoil and human bodies are just ridiculously gross and hard to upkeep and obnoxious. Like the fact that we have to eat 3 times a day. 3 times a day. Are you kidding me? Um, but it was always,
That's the density of the 3D plane
uh
is we have to eat. But as you start to work with your light body and move out of the 3D, unplug from the 3D and go into the 4D and the 5D like I do on it, you don't have to eat as much.
yes, I agree with that also. That gets into a lot of teachings that we've heard from ancient times and whatnot. There's people always want to talk about the Bible, but there's tons and tons and tons of different teachings that have come with the Bible through the centuries that are obviously just as influential, or else we would have left them back in history 1,000 years ago or whatever. But
Right.
fasting is one of those things that transcends all religions and belief
Yes.
systems.
Hmm.
So yeah, I absolutely agree with that. Um, but yeah, the past life regression was about leaving children behind.
Oh, there
And
you have it. Hmm.
yep,
Yeah, because
yep,
that's what I was sensing as you were leaving some kids behind. Yeah. And
yep.
it was like, how are they going to be able to manage without me?
I had really bad postpartum anxiety after my son was born. And
Hmm.
I don't know when the transition happened, but somewhere along the line, randomly, because the most spiritual things. And that's what people don't understand is they're always looking for these grand gestures and these grand moments of shift and whatnot. And the biggest moments happen when you're not even paying attention and you're just walking through the kitchen, going to get a glass of water or whatever. And then you'll be hit with like a thought or a feeling, and it can be really overwhelming, and you can just be like stuck in it for a second. And it's, that spiritual aspect. But somewhere along the line, I was hit with, you're not going to die until you're ready. And I just kind of like held on to that, and it just felt like truth to me. So anytime I start having these like fears of, oh no, I'm not ready, I always come back to, it's okay, you won't until you are ready. So, and I believe that that's something that we can and are capable of doing. And we could dissect that 1,000 times into like, there's situations out there where people have been like, that car was coming straight at me, and then all of a sudden nothing happened, and I closed my eyes, and then when I opened them, it had missed me, and there's no way it could have missed me. Things like that, to where it could be. And the wonderful thing about this world is that we don't know. We don't have any idea how it actually works. And is everything we're talking about complete mumbo jumbo BS? Maybe.
Yeah, we don't know.
We don't
We don't
know. But there's so much overlap in the stories of people who experience near-death experiences, or like DMT stories are terrifying. I would never want to do that, because like, to them and the people, or to the people around them who are with them, 3 minutes went past, but to them 30 years went past, and
know.
they had this whole other, or like people wake up after that 3 minutes and they're in a completely different body, they think,
Right.
completely different world and
Yeah.
reality.
Yeah.
So, like, what is truth? Who knows? But there's a lot of theories out there and speculation and stories that, you know, what is life? You get to make it up. You get to decide. That's what
Yeah,
I
we're here to create our own reality. I do believe we as souls said, all right, I want to come here. I want to experience life here on earth. I want to ascend my soul. I'm going to go through some hard lessons to ascend. I chose, we all choose our family. We choose the hardships that we've all been through because we want to learn.
hmm That's a hard one for a lot of people to.
I know it, and I get it. There's some really ugly trauma and abuse
Sure.
that happens, and it doesn't seem like it makes any sense. Like, why would I even consider signing up for this?
hmm
When you are able to heal that trauma, that deep, deep level of trauma, and detach from the story, like if you keep running the story as you're feeling the feelings, that trauma stays alive in you. But if you can detach from the story and allow the feelings to come up and be released, that starts to heal you.
Mm-hmm.
You then get to understand a different picture of why it happened. Like I always ask, I call it the divine source, God, whatever you want to call it. I ask the divine to give me the experience of God's or divine's view of my own childhood trauma. So I could get that perspective rather than my own.
Mm-hmm.
Because I want that higher level perspective. I want to learn so I can grow as a soul and not stay stuck in the pain that I was in as a kid. And so that for me, and it's not for everyone, this is my belief. That's just where I'm at. And I've healed so much from doing this on my own. But yes, having that a higher perspective. Whenever I'm in like a tough situation, right now I'm in my whole life has just been like literally flipped over. I'm going through crazy amount of shift and change in my life. And because I've done so much healing, I'm like, cool, I get to create my reality of where I'm going because I'm not supposed to stay stuck in my comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
I need to keep stretching and growing and expanding. And if I don't do that, guess what happens? The universe says, time to kick you out. You need to keep moving up the ladder. You came here to ascend. You didn't come here to stay stuck. So we're going to have to help you because you're getting a little comfy.
Mm-hmm.
So I choose in the time that everything in my life is shifting and changing, instead of going, woe is me, oh my gosh, this is awful. No, I choose to go, cool, let's see, what do I want to create? I can do that because I've done so much healing on myself. If I never did the healing on myself, I would still be confined and stressed and be like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. I can't even think clearly. And not to say there aren't days that I'm feeling a little of that because it's still who I am. I've been programmed that way. But it's like, oh, no, that's not who I am. I'm choosing to not be that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I'm choosing to be the one that's going to create her reality and create a life that is filled with so much fun and joy and excitement.
Yeah, it's the freedom of discipline. You know, they're the monks and stuff, they give us so much knowledge. Discipline and so it's often seen as deprivation. You know, you're depriving yourself of the freedoms, but it's choosing that hardship in order to progress yourself in a intentional way rather than a by default way. Because yes, if you're not doing any kind of work, stagnation occurs, and stagnation is what disease comes from, essentially. Like there's lots of different things, but stagnation of energy is where you get catapulted into a new something or another, because the only consistency is change, but people don't like to change.
No, we
So,
do not like it at all. Yeah.
yeah, so sickness comes about in an effort to force you to change, to get you to move. The universe just pushes you. If you're not moving enough, it will help you. Um, but a lot of our issues are that we are stuck in this 3D, dense human body and world, and we forget to allow ourselves to be more expansive and vast. Because if reincarnation is a thing and the soul is, infinite, imagine how bored we would get if that's all there was.
I agree with you. We came here to experience the polar opposite.
Yeah.
There's the law of polarity, and they're the same thing, just two separate sides of the coin. You get the euphoric, joy, expansiveness, and then down here you get the constricted fear, survival.
Hmm. But you can
Same
get
coin.
either one here
It's the same
also.
coin. Oh, yeah, you can. You can create heaven on earth.
Hmm.
That's what I do on a daily basis. I actively work on that.
Hmm.
You can 100%. But it starts with we have to reprogram our mind and our body. And I really, truly believe the biggest thing, Savannah, is really understanding how to love ourselves.
Sure.
Because if we can love ourselves, then that shifts everything for us.
Hmm. Yeah, because because projection and reflection. So,
100%. Yep. That's exactly it. So if we're loving ourselves, our aura, our field, our energy is going out and it's sending love. Can you imagine if like maybe 10% of the world started really truly loving themselves, how that would shift the whole dynamic of the world?
mhm.
It would be huge.
People don't realize when you have insecurities and feelings of shortcoming within yourself, that feels terrible. And you feel you're mad at yourself because you coulda, shoulda, woulda, and you're mad at the circumstances that put you in those types of ways and feelings and decisions and choices and all of that. And it's really hard for the ego to stop and realize that you can choose a different story at any point. You can choose a different belief at any point. You can choose a different way of being at any point because, we get because of the subconscious, it's always running those patterns and doing the same thing. It's so much how many people stay at a job that they absolutely hate
Hate. They
or a
hate.
marriage that they absolutely hate
Yes.
because it's
7 years.
easier to just keep doing what you've been doing rather than
Hmm.
find something new to do. When you take
It's
that and you apply
scary.
it to everything, and then what does it create? It creates lashing out at the people around you, especially the ones who are not in those situations, especially the ones
Oh
who
yeah,
are
there's a lot
doing
of
things
jealousy and judgment, right?
and they
Yep.
don't even realize, and they look at the people who they're actually jealous of them and they wish that they could make the same decisions and choices and changes that they're making, but they don't realize that that's what it is. So they just go, oh well, they're an asshole, they're always stuck up, they only think about themselves, they never come around, they have um no time for us, oh, we're not a cool kid. Oh, I see how it is. And like they're just out there living. And all of that could be changed if you just like took a second and was like, well, what are they doing that instead of being jealous of, you admire and wish that you could? Well, what's keeping you from? And we're back to fear.
Yeah, fear is the root. It's the root that keeps us from really wanting to ascend as a soul. And that's what we're here to learn and overcome and heal. Like what is the root of fear? Like everybody's is different. Everyone's is different. Not two people are the same here. We all have different stories and paths. But I love that what you're bringing up is like how what we're sending out, the signals we're sending out. I like to teach it with my clients. It's like we are all cell towers. Just imagine ourselves as a cell tower, and I want to call Savannah today. So I'm just gonna pick up my cell phone here, and I'm gonna call you. And the cell tower is going to shoot up and send the frequency, the signal out to you. You're going to get the call, and we're going to talk. Same as the energy, the thoughts we're running, it's the same. We're just pushing them out to the universe, and the universe is like, oh, she has self-hate. Boom. She has fear. Boom. Let's keep matching. Let's show her, get her even more jealous because we're going to show her what she doesn't have. That's what the universe does. So if we change our thoughts, we change the programming that's been imprinted in our body, and we start going, you know what? I actually love myself. Even if I can't really feel it, I'm going to just tap on my chest and just say, I love you. I love you. I love you. I'm going to look in a mirror and tell myself, I love you. I love you. I love you. It starts to reprogram the brain. It starts to
Hmm.
reprogram our body. And then the frequency changes and things shift.
Hmm.
They shift. I'll tell you a quick story. Back in 2009, I was with this man that I wanted to leave, and he was very ill. He had some major health issues, but he was also an alcoholic. So I was his caretaker. And we lost everything. I was trying to run the businesses. I was trying to do everything. This is before I had started my other businesses. I was going down with him. And then I started my other businesses away from him because I was like, I need to I need to do something different. This guy doesn't manage things well. Long story short, 2009, we lose everything. I think I'm going to be homeless because I don't know. We had nothing, nothing. We had a beautiful home, lost everything. And I mean, he was in and out of the hospital. All the money we had was either me trying to run a business half heartedly because I'm trying to maintain a house and a sick husband, or it was going to medical bills. And so we fortunately had some friends take us in. So here we are. We don't have any money. We lost everything and he's sick. He can't work, and I have to figure out how to make some money, get a job, make some money, and find a home. I'm in this neighborhood that our friends took us in. They're such a blessing. And every day I would walk my dogs. That was a big thing. I did not want to lose my dogs. They meant a lot to me. And they lived in this gated community in Southern California with these $1 million homes. There were these beautiful homes, and I just walk through. And as I'm walking through this neighborhood, I noticed, day after day, I noticed there were two homes that sat vacant. And I had this thought come across my mind. It's better to have somebody occupy your house and take care of it than for it to be sitting empty. A
Hmm.
house needs our energy. It feeds off of our energy. You see those houses out there that are all like falling over because they don't have energy in it. And so I'm like, I'm a really good caretaker. And I just started telling myself, I'm an amazing caretaker. And then I would start saying, there are people out there that have a house that is sitting vacant and they would be so grateful to have me take care of their home. And so every day I just be like, you know what? I'm so excited. I'm going to be a caretaker of somebody's house. They need it. And then I started just playing with the universe, and I'm like, I live here in Southern California. There's $1 million homes with ocean views. I'm going to be the best caretaker of $1 million home with an ocean view, rent free for a whole year. And I would just be in gratitude and just think about it. I kid you not, 3 months later, so I'm running this frequency that I am a caretaker of an ocean view home, $1 million home, rent free for a whole year. 3 months later, I have a friend call me out of the blue and goes, "Hey, Emily, you're not going to believe this. My mom is moving out of our house down San Clemente, one in the hills that has the ocean view. Well, my husband and I would like for you and your husband to move in there rent free for a whole year. We would rather have you guys in there than nobody in that house. Would you like to have that house?" That was the frequency I was running. I could have chose to be in the other frequency of, what am I going to do? I don't have any money. What am I? And just be in freak out mode, like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my. Guess what? I would never have had that house come to me if I
Hmm.
was in that. She's like, I have no clue why mom's moving out. Like, we have this amazing house and mom is choosing to move out. Her mom was not grateful for what she had, and it was like, Spirit was like, all right, let's move you along somewhere else. This person is going to take really good care of this house.
There's so many stories like that.
Hmm.
So many.
Yes. But
And it
it
really
just
does.
it shows the frequency that we're running and what we can create. We can create heaven on earth.
Hmm. Yeah, we get the momentum that we're putting out. Absolutely. And because that momentum compiles into our subconscious, it takes radical awareness, hyper awareness all the time. And, people think that changes have to be, I don't want to get up at 5 a.m. every day and go work out. I don't want to stop eating all the cake. I don't want to, this, that, whatever it takes. I know what it takes, I don't want you. But you can just pretend also. You can just sit in your head and play. Like our imagination is so powerful
So
for
powerful.
I,
Hmm.
our body has and our body, oh man, I didn't even realize how many angles this was going to take me on, but our body mirrors whatever our mind is telling it.
A
So
100%. Yep.
if you're reliving and you're replaying these stories, these old stories of trauma and terror and hate and sickness, then that's exactly what your body's going to react to. And your body's having the same exact chemical processes
Yep.
that, and that's why we can shift our emotions if with just a little bit of thought. That's why meditation is a thing. We can sit and think and influence our body. And that's why, you start to wear your thoughts. You can look at people
Oh, I
and
love that. You start to wear your thoughts. Yes, you
you can,
do. That's
you
so
can
good to me.
You can look at people and you can look and you can tell. You see an unhealthy looking person, 9 times out of 10, they are miserable to even be around. Like you try to talk to them and that it's all complaining and whining and crying and woe is me and anger and belittlement or lashing out or whatever, 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 whatever. But you see somebody who generally, if they are what we would call like a natural beauty, you talk to them and it's like, oh, they're so nice. They're so kind. They're so generous. They're so thankful. And people think, oh, well, that's good for them. They're nice and kind and wonderful because they're so pretty. And like, no, that's generally actually not how it works. It's generally the other way around. It's,
What just ran past you? Was that a cat?
yes, she wants outside and she's driving me crazy.
You want to let her out?
I
Let
do.
her out.
All
Yeah,
right.
let her out.
Let me pause this real fast. A lesson from my cat. She is older than my children. Uh, so she's probably 13 or 14, something like that. And just like us, with age comes boldness. And she used
I
to be
love it.
so timid and quiet. And now, if she wants outside, she wants outside right now. And it's everybody's problem.
I love it. There's a lot to learn from animals,
Absolutely. I agree.
you know?
Um, Coming back to what we were just talking about, though, they did studies of people who they just told them to sit there and imagine themselves doing sit-ups. That was it. Don't actually do any sit-ups. I don't want you to actually do anything. I just want you to lay there and imagine what doing sit-ups is like. Think about it. Think about how it would feel in your body. Think about like all of the things that would come along with that. And they were able to measure a significant increase in their abdominal muscles and whatnot. So there really are no excuses at this point. And sometimes it does take, well, it's not sometimes, it does take a lot of work. Even now, you don't even realize the automatic processes that you're doing, you're fulfilling the patterns until they come out of your mouth. And, we have a lot of like, oh, why did I say that? Why did I regret? But I'll notice myself telling old stories and then I'll have to be like, wait, 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 wait. That's not true anymore. That used to be true, but now it's not. And that's just how we move forward. You have to be aware of what's coming out of your mouth. You have to be aware of what's popping into your mind. And the mind does things without our permission. Okay? That's fine. Okay? The mind's job is to keep us alive, and it does all sorts of stuff that we don't really need it to do a lot of times. We are not our mind. We are the conscious observer of the mind. So when these thoughts pop into your head, you just got to be like, oh, hold on, Susan, what you doing there? We don't want to think like that. We want to think like this. And we just essentially parent ourselves.
100%. Yep. It's parenting ourselves. It's saying, oh no, I don't align with that. That's the old me.
Mm-hmm.
100%. Yeah. It's interesting though. So one of the things that I specialize in working with people that just cannot have that breakthrough. They're doing all the meditation or, the journaling or whatever. They're getting up early. And they're just not having that breakthrough. And sometimes, a lot of the times, it's the subconscious mind, and you're trying to catch your thoughts, and you can't overcome it. But again, it's also imprinted in our bodies. It's imprinted in our DNA, and
Mm-hmm.
so it's really hard. Like we can catch our thoughts, but if we don't actually go in the body too, it makes it really hard for people to make those changes in life. And even like you said, we have no excuse. We could just meditate and have that
Mm-hmm.
experience of, all of a sudden having more abdominal muscle. However, there are so many people that have had so much trauma that their nervous systems can't even meditate.
Sure.
You know, that's hard for them. I have a lot of clients that are like, no, I was that way before. I was like, I can't meditate. I had to like force myself. I committed to meditating 30 minutes for a whole year.
Mhm.
And at first, my mind was spinning out of control. But after like 3 or 4 months, all of a sudden, I was like, I was like craving that time to meditate.
Mhm.
And now I crave it, or I do it every day. But yeah, it's knowing that our nervous systems, our bodies are so complex, our minds are so complex. I wish it was so easy, and it's
Mhm.
just not. And it's so frustrating. Like when you've spent years and years and years trying to have that breakthrough. I know from my own personal experience and not having it and seeing other people, I do know a resentment comes up, jealousy comes up. It's like, wait, this is not fair
Mhm.
to have this. So I don't know. Our bodies, it's complex. It's a definite, I don't, we could go in so many different directions on that.
Yeah, especially in the beginning, it takes a lot. It does get easier as you go. Just like if you've never done a push-up, you probably can't just jump on the floor and do even three, you
Hmm.
know? It's hard. And trying to flip things over takes a lot of strength, a lot of persistence, a lot of determination, tenacity. Because if you've spent 30 years, say 40 years, 50 years, however old you are, going in a certain direction, you've built a train, you've built a rocket that is moving in that direction. So to get it to go the other direction, you have to get it to stop, look, first and foremost, and then turn it around. You can't turn a
Yeah,
train.
exactly. Slow it down.
It only
Yeah.
goes one way, you know?
Mm-mm.
So, but and it also everything is an internal feedback loop, which can also cause a lot of friction, because again, we're antennas. So if you're putting out this, then that's what's getting put back to you. So, how many people are in therapy because of people who won't go to therapy? That's a common thing that we have been hearing a lot lately through memes and whatnot. You start trying to turn your life around, and then everybody in your life starts to fight against it and push back and try to like actively stop you. And most of us are people pleasers. We're communal creatures. There's nothing more important than love and connection with other people, our relationships,
Yeah, community is everything. Hmm.
everything.
Hmm.
And, you know, when a lot of people start making these positive changes, misery loves company, and you are a result of the community that you've been seeped in. So if you come from toxicity, and you start to become non-toxic, they're not going to like that. And then people start to fall away. And that's terrifying. People would rather, stay with the devil, rather than face the world alone, rather than cut these toxic people out of their lives because, well, what if I break down on the side of the road and they have to come get me because I don't have anybody else to come get me, so I have to make sure that I do the right things and say the right things so that even though everything they say and do is toxic, I have to placate that because I don't have anybody else. And, that's scary and that's real. That's a real thing. But if you learn how to be self-sufficient in yourself and you learn how to create that own stability, like your own stability and meet your own needs, then you may be by yourself for a while, but that's also oftentimes necessary to learn how to love yourself and understand yourself and know who you are and know what's for you and what's not for you. And then slowly but surely, other people will start to fill in the gaps. Because if you're happy and at peace and comfortable and confident in yourself, and people think confidence is loud, but true confidence is quiet.
Quiet. It's so quiet.
It's so
Yeah.
quiet. It's
It's
secure.
so attractive seeing quiet, confident
Mhm.
people. It's so amazing.
Exactly. You become magnetized because
Hmm.
nobody wants to be around the person who's angry all the time. S I don't want to say sad all the time because I mean, it's important to be there for your friends when they're
Of
having.
course. Yeah. Yeah.
But if you refuse to find anything good in the world and you're
Yeah. If
just,
you're living in that victim mentality.
then nobody, but if you're happy and peaceful, people are going to want to be around you. And I don't understand how this escapes people. Like everybody knows when I go hang around that person, I leave feeling disgusting. I feel so gross, man. I feel so, why did I hang out with them again? And then when you go hang out with that person over there, you're like, man, I wish that we could hang out more. I feel so energized. I feel so happy when I leave them because energy is contagious. So if you can't find that energy, unfortunately, you have to be that energy to attract that energy.
Yep, 100%. You have to. If we go back to the cell tower, you're radiating out the whatever energy you're going to attract. So I have a lot of clients come to me that are about wanting to find their soulmate. And so their past relationships were unhealthy, like mine. And so there's a lot of healing to be done. And it goes back to that self love, Savannah. That's like, I really believe self love is the root to everything. So it's learning, it's healing the trauma, breaking the patterns of what you used to do. And then you start to do the self love, and then you can start to radiate out a different frequency. So maybe like when I started to date my husband, my frequency was really, really low. Guess what? He mirrored it. He mirrored it. So we mirrored each other. I was a victim. I was a people pleaser. I had no confidence. Um, and so we were a match. We were a match mate because that was where our energy was. Well, as I started to heal myself and he didn't, our relationship went like this, right? And
Hmm.
I'm like, I want to get out, but I still don't have the confidence and the courage to leave because of what you were talking about earlier, like leaving. It's hard. It's scary. You're alone. You don't want to be alone. It's easier to be with people, even if their frequency's low and they make you not feel good. You're going to stay because that's community is important. That's what you know. It took me having a near death experience, which I should have left earlier, to be able to leave that relationship. And the moment I left it, I was like free and happy, but I will tell you, I continued to heal myself. I healed, healed, healed. And finally, when I was ready to start dating again, I'm like, all right, universe, I'm ready to date. And I wrote out a list of what the qualities of what I wanted in my next partner. And he showed up in 3 days. Well, his vibration was mirroring mine, and it was high. And we've been together for a while. We've been together for like 9 years now, and it's like we keep growing together. We're just and there's times he may go down or I go down, but we pull each other
Yeah.
up. But it's a matter of if you're willing to do the work on yourself, you're gonna not keep going back to the same people that influence you at a lower level. Have you heard about crabs and what crabs do?
Yes.
So, yeah, so you don't have to put a lid on the bucket for the crabs because they're gonna pull you down, the other
Hmm.
crab down that wants to get out. And so if we are stay with lower level people, not lower level, that doesn't sound right. I'm sorry. I will admit I've had brain damage, and so sometimes words don't come out right. Lower frequency people, if we stay with them, they're going to keep us low.
Hmm.
They just will.
Yep.
And we can't change them. We can only change ourselves.
Yep. Yeah, and sometimes I think that because we have access to so much information nowadays and we know what toxicity is, that we've overcorrected a lot. So, a lot of people have, well, I have high standards, but the high standards that they have is really just insecurity and fear being masqueraded as high standards that are never met, and then that'll keep them alone. Um, yeah.
Yeah, I think that the high standards, it's important to have standards. You want to be with people that have the same values as you. And
Yes.
so that's the important thing. But if you are actually living those values and you want to go find somebody, guess what? You're going to find them.
Mm.
If you're saying you have these values of like love, joy, happiness, abundance, whatever it is, are your values, if you are actually living, or if you're saying you want it, but you're not living it, that's the masquerading. 100%. There's more healing to do, and that's okay. I really believe our healing journey is a lifelong process. I don't believe anyone is able to heal unless you're like Jesus or Buddha, or you know,
Yeah.
there. I think we are here to go on this healing journey and just see it as a lifelong, and be grateful for those moments that you're like, wow, I used to get triggered when my partner did X, Y, and Z, and now I'm not even triggered. This is crazy.
Yep.
This is a good thing. This is a really good thing. I used to get triggered when I'd hit a red light. Now I'm like, cool, I got some extra time to listen to my favorite podcast with Savannah.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Everything's a teeter-totter also. We get really stuck in our ideas of what things should be. And healing also, we'll think that we're healed from something, and then something else will happen and it'll trigger, and it's like a complete meltdown of all of the processes and the work that we've done. And that's why true healing is more like a spiral. It always comes back in on itself to show up again. And I saw something, because this happened to me recently. I was like, I thought that something from my past was healed, and then something happened and it all came like melting back, and my nervous system was shot, and just like it was years and years ago. And then I don't remember if I just came across a meme or if a friend sent me a meme, but it said something like, actual healing doesn't mean it doesn't bother you anymore. It means that you get over it in a week or two now, instead of 2 weeks instead of 2 years or something, or however.
Yeah, you go, it doesn't, you can move through it much faster.
Hmm. Yeah. But the teeter-totter, everybody wants to find balance, and their balance is a teeter-totter. And just like when you were talking about your partner, and how one time, like, you mirror each other, but sometimes it goes up and down, and then you pull each other back. And I think that as people, we don't have, and it comes back to self-love, because
It's
we don't give
everything.
ourselves the leadway and the compassion and the gentleness and the space to fall down on our teeter-totter. We think that we always need to stay up all the time.
Because
So
we've
when
been
we don't do
programmed that way, right? We've been
Sure.
programmed to stay up and be on performance. And yeah,
Especially
I'm
with
sorry.
hustle culture.
Yes.
Productivity is the only thing that matters. And like, we're hustling and we're productivying ourselves towards success, material goods, in lieu of, man, so many people I know are always pushing the people they love aside in lieu of work and success and money and things for the people that they're pushing aside.
I know. It's
And
really
and
sad.
it's so sad.
It's the programming.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we've been programmed to do by our society. When we started this conversation, you said that every day you take a nap. And
Oh, sure.
I truly was like, kudos to you. That is self care. That is unplugging from this matrix of the 3D, saying you have to hustle, you have to push yourself, you have to go to burnout to be able to maintain this lifestyle or status or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That's not living. And what you're doing is like, no, I need this time and I'm going to be more productive. I know I'm going to be more productive by taking this nap.
Uh-huh.
And it's true. Your nervous system, everything is able to go, okay, now we can go. So
Yeah,
I think it's amazing you're doing that.
it's counterintuitive. We think that
Yes.
the more that we do, obviously, if I just keep moving, I just keep doing, I'm going to get the things faster. I'm going to get the things quicker. But the analogy I use a lot of times with my students is that if my kids are trying to hurry and make a bowl of cereal, they end up making a huge mess.
Yes.
And it takes us 3 times as long as if you would just take your time and be careful
Mhm.
making the bowl of cereal, then we don't have cereal all over the table and we don't have milk in the floor and there's a whole mess now. There's a whole mess. But
Absolutely.
honestly, because I mean, I did it too. I did the whole hustle thing. I was, you know, man, my life for years and years and years and years and years was nonstop. I slept like 5 hours tops. I got up at 5 a.m. and started working. I stayed up to midnight working, you know? And I noticed somewhere along the way that anytime I really started getting burnout, I would get sick.
Hmm.
I would
Yeah.
be down for like 3 or 4 days at least, you know? And I started realizing that if I would just, I realized I had a belief pattern ingrained in me that I was only allowed to rest if I was sick. So then my body started, because again, it's an internal feedback loop and your brain and your body work together and they do what you tell them to. And so every time I started getting to where I needed rest, my body would make me sick so that I would rest. And,
Hmm.
you know, we could take a different route of conversation with just that little piece of information. Um, it, consistency, doing a little bit every day. And so I started doing instead of a to-do list, it was like a done list or a list quota. So like, because you ask people, all the things that you have to do, and they'll say they have a list of 20 things they need to do today. If they get 15 of those things done, they're beating themselves up because they didn't get that last five. But when you lay it out for them like that, that's cognitive behavioral therapy, though. Like
Hmm.
15 things, you got 15 things done. Can we not be happy about that? Like, oh, well, I guess that is a lot. Yeah, yeah, that's a lot. So I started trying to figure out what is good enough? When is good enough good enough? And that takes a lot of pressure off of you when you sit there and you're like, okay, if I can just get X, Y, and Z done. But even then, having children, that's hilarious. You think you're going to get X, Y, and Z done, and they have other plans, or
Yeah.
just life has other plans. So I was able to make huge shifts when I started telling myself, okay, this is what I would like to get done. But if the universe has other plans for me, I noticed that most of my stress, and so your number one thing is self-love. My number one thing is stress management. I started noticing that most of my stress came from how I uh, reacted to the things that were out of my control in my life. And I think a lot of people are falling into that. So, we're like, okay, I have an appointment at 2 o'clock. I have to drive to that appointment. It takes me 30 minutes to get there. Okay, so I have to leave at say 1:20 because I am uh punctual and I have my life together. And then you hit traffic after traffic after traffic. A lot of people get really bent out of shape on that.
Yes, absolutely. Hmm.
So my borderline base for being thankful and having gratitude and choosing peace and happiness instead is is anyone dead or dying? If the answer is no, and it generally is, let's take a breath. Let's fix our
Hmm.
posture. Let's relax our face and shoulders. Let's ground our energy. Let's drain all that tension through the balls of our feet or whatever, like let's do some crunches and sit-ups in our head, just
I love
distract
that. I
yourself.
love that. So good. Um, yes, this is so good. So this is what I call a choice point. When you're in that place of like the universe is not working in your favor. One, you're probably running a frequency of resistance.
Hmm.
And so you're running into resistance because you're running it. And that's again a subconscious and a DNA imprint that's just running. And so it's a constant, nothing's in flow. So being aware of it and asking yourself, like the other day, I remember I was sitting down to do some work, do some videos, and I was just like, "Ugh, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this." And it was like a choice point for me. And I'm like, well, let me ask myself why I don't want to do it. So I just took a minute instead of like normally I just force myself to just do whatever the video I was doing or whatever. And I'm like, okay, well, this is not a good frequency one to be doing any sort of video in, right? If I'm
Hmm.
not in like, this is fun, I get to connect with people. No. So I'm like, all right, this is choice point for me. And so I'm like, why do I want to do it? And I asked my subconscious, I'm like, subconscious, why do I not want to do this? And my subconscious says, because it always is so hard. And so that's a program from my childhood with learning disabilities. Everything was hard. And so I was like, oh, cool. I get to release this belief. And then I get to replace it with, no, it gets to be fun and playful.
Hmm.
It gets to be fun and playful. And so I will tap on my chest, my heart, and I'll just be like, this gets to be fun and playful. Oh my gosh, I cannot wait to connect with whoever needs to hear this message today.
Hmm.
And then I can do the task at hand. So same with the traffic stops or whatever. I in those moments is like, cool, I get more time to listen to Savannah's podcast instead of I'm late, I'm late, I'm late. Well, you know what? Yeah, you probably are because you're running some resistance in you. And it's identifying why am I late? Why am I running into this resistance? What's going on? What frequency am I running inside of me right now?
Hmm.
So that I could shift that. And then guess what? It's all of a sudden going to open up for you. The key is if your nervous system is so wired to just keep going, 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 and it's really hard to take that pause and to really tap into yourself, then it's like, all right, you're going to have to, in those moments, do a little something to help calm your nervous system. And that's where I'm all about tapping because tapping is reprogramming the DNA. And it could just be like, I'm going to be there on time, or I'm going to be there in divine timing. I think that's probably a better one, or perfect timing. I'm going to make it there on perfect timing. Because how many times are you so stressed to get somewhere and then you get there and you have to wait?
Yep.
So just trust that the universe has your back and just start to take a moment. It doesn't have to be complicated. Just be I'm getting there at the perfect time.
Uh, so Einstein's theory of relativity. I
Hmm.
have noticed if you pay attention on days that I feel like I don't have enough time, I don't have enough time. If you're watching the clock and it just like it goes so fast. You're like, "Oh, how is this happening? How is this? How is it already? How is it?" But on days that I may have just the same full schedule, but I have a different frequency about me, and I'm like, I'm just, maybe my workout was really good or whatever this morning, so I'm just feeling more laid back, more at. It feels like the day goes on forever. Like I have all the time in the world, and that just kind of shows you, like, and play with it. That's a fun little thought experiment. We've thrown out a ton of thought experiments
I
for
know,
people to
right? I'm so
wonder.
grateful. This has been
Yeah,
such a fun conversation. You know, I love his Einstein's. What is it called again? The relative time,
yeah,
relative.
theory of relativity.
Thank you. I play with that when I'm with my family. So I have aging parents, and I want to spend time with them when I can. I don't live near them, so it's like I get to see them a few times a year. Whenever I go to see them, I play with it and I'm like, time is going to go so slow. and I'm just going to allow it to go slow, because that theory is when you're having a good time, it goes fast.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're having a bad time, you're at work and you want to be, you're like, I just want to get home. It goes slow, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I do the opposite. I'm like, all right, time's just going to go so slow. And I'm going to enjoy every moment that I'm with my family. And it
Mm-hmm.
does, it works. And then I do it when I'm driving, because it's a good 8 hour drive for me to get to my parents. I'm like, oh, this could be such a fast drive. And
Mm-hmm.
I will get there in 6 hours instead of eight. And it always takes eight. It's like, so I play with it all the time. I think it's
But
such a
it feels
fast.
like 6.
No, it is six. It literally is 6 hours when I'm like, all right,
Oh,
I speed up
okay.
time. We can speed up time. We come from a place that we created time. We can speed up time. It's the most amazing thing. Play with it. Seriously.
No, I agree. I've been doing the same thing with my children because like even though I had such a hard time when they were little, I always, people are always like, "Oh, you're gonna miss this when you're," and I was always the whole time like I was like, I don't know that I am, and but I was gonna
I
make
love
sure,
your honesty, because I think a lot of moms go through this.
and they lie about it.
They lie
So,
about it because they're living a facade to make
uh-huh.
sure everyone thinks that they're okay. Yeah, so I appreciate your honesty here.
Yeah, and that just makes the isolation that much more, the distance that much more. If you're more willing to be honest about your experiences, it diffuses the situation for everyone. How many of us have been, say we're in line at a cash register at a store, and then there's a line of people behind you, and you get there and you start fiddling with your stuff, and all of a sudden you don't know how to like work your things, and because you're panicking and there's people that are waiting. If you just take a breath, I have panic attacks I have social anxiety really bad. I am terrified of people. Generally, I don't speak very much outside of the podcast, honestly, and like close relationships. Um, but I do know how to diffuse a situation now. So I can just be like, I can laugh about it and be like, ha, sorry, let me have a panic attack real quick and hold everybody up. And
Oh my God.
if
You're
you're just
so cute.
radically honest about it,
People
then
appreciate that.
they do. And then most people are so kind. Most people are like, oh, you're fine. Oh, it's okay. Take your time. And then that helps you take a breath and relax your nervous system and relearn how to work your hands. Because sometimes, we have panic attacks, we forget how to do the breathe and things. Um, but yeah, you know, people always tell you you're gonna miss them when they're little. And like, I miss cuddles, I guess, but like also it's okay to go hug my preteen. Like he'll cuddle if we want to cuddle still. It's fine. And like I don't have teenagers yet, but um you got to take those moments when you are noticing the gratitude and the moment and imprint them so that you can take them with you as you go through time. Because so yeah, I always, if I'm having a good moment or a good day or a good experience or whatever, I always try to slow things down also and check in with your senses, notice how the air feels, notice the temperature, notice your left toe, it's just your right ear. It's just, if you bring your awareness to all of these things, you can relax the nervous system and experience the moment for a longer duration of time. Most of the
I
time,
love that. And you're imprinting your nervous system with this. So it's something, you're rewriting the story of
hmm
something you can go back and revisit.
yeah, time
It's so
passes.
good. So good.
Time flies when you're having fun because you're not paying attention. You're
Yes.
distracted. That's why it goes by fast. Distractions, man. Distractions. The world's built around them.
It really is. And it's going to get even more for us. I mean, our social media has changed our minds, the wiring of our minds, and it's getting more and more for us to be able to focus on things. And that is the biggest, if there's any takeaway from this podcast, I think it's self love enough to take away, remove things that are taking away from your focus on
hmm
what you want in life. Because the more that we are on social media, or whatever. I don't know what people are doing, but they're not focusing on themselves, the more chaos we're creating.
Hmm. Less is more, always.
Less is so much more. And I love how this came full circle, how we were talking about, it's all about, how difficult it is for us, everyone, not just you, it's everyone, to be our authentic selves. It's like we're fearful of coming out and being authentic and our truth, a fear of judgment, fear of failure, fear of losing people. Yet you just told a beautiful story of having a panic attack, unable to manage your wallet, and just saying, I'm sorry, guys, in a joking way, but people gave you grace.
Hmm.
And that is self love. And that self love of being like, hey, this is where I'm at. People are like, oh, she's vulnerable. Let's give her what she needs. She needs space. We're not gonna radiate off a hatred or rushed energy or anything that's gonna make her even more stressed. We're just gonna be like, take your time.
Hmm.
So I think if we can just trust that when we are vulnerable and we are authentic, I have brain damage in here, and sometimes words come out really wrong. And it's embarrassing, but that's part of who I am. And I love
Hmm.
myself for it. Yes, I wish I had a silver tongue and could speak perfectly and articulate. It's just not who I am, and that's okay.
Hmm. It is. We're human, and every single one of us has uh, difficulties with one thing or another. We all are predispositioned to have an easier time with these things over here and a harder time with these things over here. And sometimes we can, most of the time, we can really beat ourselves up about the things that are hard for us because we see other people having an easy time with them. And we think that we should just be perfect and good at all the things all the time. And if we're not, there's things flawed about us. But, and, and also, oftentimes, also, the fear that we have around people pleasing or being ourselves or, whatever it is founded in legitimate experiences that we had. And in an effort to protect ourselves, we put up all these walls. And what we end up doing is isolating ourselves.
Yep.
It's hard to continue to allow yourself to be soft and vulnerable when you've been hurt over and over and over again. That's the real strength. It's
It is.
easy to shut yourself off. It's easy to put all the walls and um, mask it in anger and, you know, unapproachableness. That's the easy route. The hard route is being soft and vulnerable and open despite them.
Yeah. And the more that you can do it and experience the beauty from it, the easier it gets. It's just like you were talking about going to the gym, lifting those weights, doing those sit ups. And it's just maybe starting small, starting with a stranger, smiling with a stranger.
Hmm.
Maybe you don't, you know?
Yeah. And again, back to the mirroring is most people who are not going to give you grace and are going to attack you or whatever, that's a them problem. That's not a you problem. That's
Yeah.
something in their programming that is insecure or fearful or whatever, and they're lashing out uh, to protect themselves, and you're just getting caught in the crossfire. And the sooner you can realize that and understand it, because a lot of us know it, but we don't understand it, and we still take it personally when people, you know, every single one of us are uh guilty of that. Like we can know all the things all day long, but being human is hard. So implementing, sometimes it takes a month later you'll be like, "Oh man, I can't believe I let that get to me. Look at that. Now that the dust has settled, everything is settled, it's like, wow, bless their heart. Here I thought." Anyway, you know.
Yeah, I think it also, if we go back to your thing, when there's stress or in your life that you talk about, well, is there anyone dying or dead that I need to be concerned about? No. Okay. In those moments, like, yeah, I feel a little trigger here. but is it really impacting me? I can choose to allow it to impact me.
Hmm. All day
You
long.
and yeah, or I could be like, oh, they're projecting their stuff on me. I'm not gonna receive that. That's not mine. So,
And I mean, honestly, even with is anyone dead or dying? If they are, what can we do, honestly, other than meet it with grace and patience and spaciousness? And
yeah.
and remember, sometimes death is a gift. I've had
Oh, 100%.
yeah,
Yes.
and people don't want to, we don't want to look at the dark aspects of life and ourselves and that's what shadow work is. And me and you, I think we could go on for another hour
I
probably.
know. This is so fun, Savannah.
So if
So
you ever
fun.
want to come back, we can
I
absolutely do
would
it
love
again.
to. I so appreciate your podcast and your audience and what you are doing to help people just really navigate. There's so much complexity out there in this world and really help them understand, we're human and there's support here. So thank you for everything that you're doing here. I
Well,
really
thank
do
you for
appreciate it.
having a conversation with me. Regular people on the street don't like to talk about things like this, which is how I ended up with a podcast in the first place, because I had to talk about things like this.
Well, I'm so glad you did. It's perfect.
Well, open invitation if you want to come back. It doesn't matter when. It could be next week. It could be 2 years from now. Whatever works for you works for me. But
Awesome. Yep,
tell
I will be
people
back. This is so fun.
I enjoyed it too. Tell people where they can find you. And of course, I'll link it all below and whatnot.
Awesome.
Like anything you like.
I appreciate that. My website is Emily Kady, and it's Kady .com, and you can find me on YouTube, Emily Kady, as well as Instagram. My Instagram handle is I am Emily Kady. So thank you.
Awesome. All right. Well, we'll let everybody go.
All right.